When I really sit down and think about the last year and a half and all the shenanigans that came from the promo and production of these two movies, I have to think we're in a simulation. I don't think we've seen a franchise cause this much drama and tomfoolery since the days of Glee, non-derogatory of course. So now that the second Wicked movie is about to be released, at least at the time of me filming this, I thought it would be fun for us to go through the unfortunate series of events from when the public knew these movies were coming to us watching the sequel on the big screen, because my god, it was a lot. I don't share too much about myself with you guys for lots of different reasons, but today, I'll let that rule go. I'm turning 25 in 2 months, and something about that feels a little too serious to me. My frontal lobe is done developing, my interests are changing, my priorities are shifting. I'm going through a whole lot. And one of the biggest changes in my life is taking my medical care a lot more seriously. As I'm getting older, I find myself taking more precautions and prioritizing my health, and my usual habit of feeling a little bit off and just waiting for it to go away isn't an option anymore. It is now a huge priority for me to have access to medical care, because taking care of my problems early on can help me avoid any difficulties later. Which is why I am so happy to talk about today's sponsor, ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free website where you can search and compare high quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. And ZocDoc isn't just for one type of care. They have more than 100,000 providers across almost any specialty, from primary care to dental health, eye care, urgent care, mental health, and even more. It's pretty much a one-stop shop for all your healthcare needs, so there's no need to call doctor's offices and wait on hold, because ZocDoc lets you do everything online. Finding a doctor who can really help me focus on maintaining my good health is super important to me as I'm getting older, so ZocDoc will be my go-to resource for booking future appointments. And ZocDoc helps you get appointments fast, usually within just 24 to 72 hours of booking, and you can even get same-day appointments. So stop waiting, stop guessing, and start getting the care you need. You can click the link in my description or go to ZocDoc.com/Aishah to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Aishah to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor. And thanks so much to ZocDoc for sponsoring today's video. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm this huge Wicked fan and know the source material like the back of my hand, because that would be a lie. I have pretty basic knowledge of the musical. I'm no theater kid, which is why I'm not covered in green and wearing a big pointy hat, but I do applaud people's commitment to the craft. I honestly didn't know the existence of Wicked till about middle school when I started watching Glee for the first time. So I'm looking at all of this with no bias or attachment. I'm just here for the dramatics. Just for some quick background information, Wicked is a musical that debuted in 2003 on Broadway, and it was adapted from the 1995 book Wicked: The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. And that was also inspired from the Wizard of Oz book and movie, so this story goes way back. It's about this green girl named Elphaba that eventually turns into the Wicked Witch of the West by the end. But it starts with her going to college with her younger sister Nessa to take care of her and just kind of watch over her. And because she's green, everyone thinks she's weird and no one likes her. And in college, she meets a girl named Glinda who's very popular on campus, and Glinda's kind of unserious, but in a way that's endearing, so it kind of makes her relatable. The story is mostly about their friendship, and they sing a couple of songs, and these songs you most likely came into contact with without ever watching the musical or even watching last year's movie. That's impact. So these characters are so crucial and embedded into pop culture that finding actresses to play them was not an easy thing to do. The producer of Wicked, who just so happens to be Ben Platt's dad, which somehow just makes sense. He'd been trying to get a Wicked movie going for a while, but it didn't really go anywhere till about 2021. It was announced that Cynthia Eviro and Ariana Grande were cast as Elphaba and Glinda in the upcoming live-action Wicked movie. And people's feelings were all over the place about it. When it came to Cynthia, from what I gathered, people just didn't know that much about her, so they were apprehensive about a nobody, well, at least a nobody to the American US market, taking on such a huge character, which, okay, fair. But when it came to Ari, all hell broke loose. Because she was pop girl Ariana for the last 7 years, everyone was like, what is she doing here? Keep in mind, the most recent version of Ariana in people's minds was the Thank You Next era, so Blackiana.
I'm like, bitch, that's my cookie, that's my juice, okay? Carry on.
Even though she was controversial, she was very fun. I guess people just seem to forget that she was a key actress in the hit show Victorious and gave us very iconic scenes.
I love karaoke. What? Shh! Your doctor said you weren't supposed to talk. He didn't say I couldn't say.
But she also got her start on Broadway as a young teen on 13 the musical, so she had the experience to be able to pull this off. I'm very impressed that she low-key manifested this role for herself, because Ari circa 2013-2014 made it her entire personality that she loved all things Wicked. She loved it so much that she even made the poppiest pop version of Popular. Y'all know how I feel about that song. The audition selections for these roles was a very grueling process because everyone working on the production needed to find the perfect people for these roles. This was a long process where the people auditioning would come in and sing multiple songs, do some scenes, and they'd come back to do it over and over again. And keep in mind, these were dream roles for these actresses and performers, so they were taking it very seriously. Ariana said that she found out that auditions for Wicked were happening while she was on her Sweetener World Tour, which I have very mixed feelings about, because one thing about me, I always have a story to tell. My life is very unserious. I have personal beef with the Sweetener World Tour because it went on during my freshman year of college, and you might think to yourself, Aishah, what's the problem? That seems like the perfect time to go. I'll tell you why. The night of her show in my city also happened to be the exact same night as my math final for the semester, and I'm pretty sure the show started at the exact same time as my math final, so I had a critical decision to make. Attend the concert and have the time of my life, or take my math final. And unfortunately, I decided to take the math final. But had I known the pandemic was coming 4 months later and Ariana wouldn't go on tour for another 7 years, I would have abandoned the math final, gone to the concert, and just taken the class all over again. And I will never forgive 18-year-old me for that decision. I'll also never forgive my professor for making my math final at 8 p.m. If I see you on the street, count your days. So she finds out about the Wicked auditions on tour, and she's ready to pack the whole thing up and just go audition. The tour. Obviously that didn't happen, but that's how important Wicked was to her. So the auditions happened and the production team chose Ariana and Cynthia for the roles, and now it's time to make the movies. When it came to the actual production of the movie, we the public didn't know too much of what was going on. Everything was being kept under wraps until the press tour started. In 2023, Ari dyed her hair and eyebrows blonde, and everyone hated this look. The way people were horrified from this, you would think she was the Grim Reaper. It was actually kind of funny. Another big change that people noticed was her speaking voice. It was a lot softer and lighter. It was definitely enough for people to notice this change, but people didn't make a big deal about it at first. But the main thing that was a clear difference to people was Ariana's weight loss, which was a topic that people consistently brought up in her comments or on social media. She was quiet about it for quite a long time until finally she responded to everything with a video.
I just wanted to address your concerns about my body and talk a little bit about what it means to be a person with a body and to be seen and to be paid such close attention to. I think we should be gentler and less comfortable commenting on people's bodies, no matter what. If you think you're saying something good or well-intentioned, whatever it is, healthy, unhealthy, big, small, this, that, sexy, not sexy, we just shouldn't. The body that you've been comparing my current body to was the unhealthiest version of my body. I was on a lot of antidepressants and drinking on them and eating poorly, and at the lowest point of my life when I looked the way you consider my healthy.
People weren't really buying this, so they continued on being really concerned about her physical health. We start to get pictures of the cast and crew working on the movie, and everything was fine until Spongebob Gate. I'm sure there's an official name for this scandal, but I don't know. Spongebob Gate has a fun ring to it. So yes, Spongebob Gate, the big scandal of 2023, you had to be there. The reason people call Ethan Slater SpongeBob is because he played SpongeBob on Broadway, which says everything you need to say about him. Reports came out that she was dating her co-star on the Wicked movie, Ethan Slater, who happened to look like this. I don't make it a habit to talk about people's looks, so all I'm gonna say is this was interesting. I'm a lot nicer than I used to be because this is what I said back in 2023.
This is gonna be a little bit controversial. I mean, there's absolutely no reason to break up a family. But if you are going to do that, make sure the guy is worth all the trouble. I don't know. I'm very confused. Like, I know Ariana doesn't have very good vision, but I'm I'm just confused. Like, this is the guy you want to risk everything for? I don't know. I feel like there's better options.
This was a huge thing because Ethan here was married to his wife at the time, and they just welcomed a child together barely a year prior. That baby was fresh out the womb. Keep in mind, Ariana had also just separated from her husband Dalton Gomez. No one really knew why this happened, and people kind of had mixed feelings about him since their marriage seemed to happen really suddenly, and he was also a real estate agent. Who wants that? So rumors about their relationship start spreading everywhere, and Ariana was getting the home wrecking label left and right. People were also giving Ethan his lashings too because he literally abandoned his family, but a lot of it did go on to Ariana. People did some digging into Ariana's past relationship and found that 99% of them stemmed from her stealing men from other women without a care in the world. Even though this is really bad, I've low-key gotta respect her game here. She clearly got it like that. People also use the lyrics to her song "Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored" as her mantra, which just adds another layer to everything. There were numerous TikToks, think pieces on Twitter, video essays on YouTube. It was really bad. Ethan's wife at the time came out saying that she didn't even know about the affair until a couple of days before the news went public, which was probably so traumatic for her. I'm genuinely shocked she didn't go ape on the both of them. They deserved it. Ethan and her got a divorce shortly after this, and Ariana was now divorced from her husband, and Ariana never talked about the whole thing publicly until the Eternal Sunshine era. You might ask, Aishah, why are you talking about the Ariana album? We're getting off course here. Well, I like extra context for things, so leave me alone. January 2024, Ariana dropped Yes and as the first single for the era, and it was a cute little house-inspired track with a very cool music video. But what made everyone stop in their tracks were these lines. Don't comment on my body, do not reply, your business is yours, and mine is mine, why do you care so much, whose dick I ride? Now this was just uncouth. So the I Hate Ariana train started all over again because now she was a homewrecker with no remorse. The full album does eventually come out and everyone was expecting Ariana to speak more about the situation, but instead she revealed that Dalton actually cheated on her. This sent the internet into a frenzy with Ariana fans telling Dalton to count his days, but they also used it as a justification for everything Ariana did with Ethan, which no, guys, that's not. When it came to the press tour and promo for the first movie, the best way I could describe it was emotional overload. There were multiple instances of Ariana and Cynthia in interviews together, and they would be holding and caressing each other and sometimes even crying randomly. And this made people very uncomfortable. I think my favorite one is when an interviewer told Ariana and Cynthia about people's reactions to the lyrics of Defying Gravity, and Cynthia had a really emotional response to it, which is where we got this video.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was happening.
The memes that came from this, especially the one of Ariana holding only one of her fingers, is why I will never leave the internet. There were a whole bunch of theories about them being secretly lovers or going through something really traumatic on the set. It was here that people really took notice of the change in Ariana's voice and overall demeanor. She just seemed like a completely different person. There were theories about this being just her way of doing method acting for the role of Glinda, but most people came to the conclusion that Ariana was having some kind of personality crisis. Because keep in mind, Ari used to talk and act like this.
I seem to be enjoying a tiny guitar and doing what looks like the bend and snap, I guess. I haven't grown much since then. And there's also a really dope, like, Picasso pillow in the background. Where's that?
I don't even recognize this girl. Who is she? Throughout her career, Ariana has gone through different styles of talking and just her overall aura, including a black scent, which is where the Blackiana jokes always come from. So people now thought that most likely she just didn't know who she actually was as a person since she took on so many different personality traits over the last 7 years. I will say that this is pretty normal, especially for a young woman in her 20s going through life, minus the black scent. But the only real difference here is that she did it in front of the public eye, so millions of people saw this happen in real time and can actually look back at her digital footprint, which most of us just can't relate to that. But her going from sexy and lit to having the mannerisms of a frail child is grounds for concerning behavior considering she's gotten older. So whether this is due to method acting or some deeper reason that I just don't feel like investigating into is very interesting. We do need to talk about the fan art situation, which is pretty split on how people feel about it, and with me, I think a lot of things can be true at once. The theatrical release poster for the movie had now been released, but there's also a poster in existence from the original one on Broadway. There are some clear differences here, but the overall vibe is the same. So someone thought it would be fun to make a fan edit version and Photoshop the movie release poster to look similar to the Broadway one. Just good, wholesome, clean fun. And Cynthia did not like that. She made a lengthy post on her Instagram story saying, "This is the wildest, most offensive thing I have seen, equal to that awful AI of us fighting, equal to people posing the question, is your green? None of this is funny, none of it is cute. It degrades me, it degrades us." The original poster is an illustration. I'm a real-life human being who chose to look right down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer, because without words we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face and hide my eyes is to erase me, and that is just deeply hurtful. I will say, if this is the most offensive thing she has ever seen, the internet has been very good to her. Now, before I go on, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Cynthia has gone through so much racism, colorism, and misogyny during her career, which has made her extra vigilant to how people perceive her and the want to stand up for herself, which is why she initially reacted this way. So I'll give her grace for that. But that clearly wasn't the case here because this was just good, wholesome, clean fun. Because of her reaction, the fan that made this edit got so many hate comments and death threats from Cynthia's fans, and it was really bad. So yeah, people dragged her for this, and she later came out saying that she overreacted to the whole thing because she didn't understand that it was just a fan edit, but the damage was already done. All this happened about a week or two before the movie was about to come out, so promo-wise, this was kind of perfect timing. No one thought this movie was gonna be good, and people were a little apprehensive about how it would translate onto the big screen, so when it did, it shook up everyone. The movie was a huge box office success, grossing over $700 million, and the soundtrack also did really well, with many songs charting on the Billboard Hot 100. And it became a popular thing on TikTok for people to recreate the Defying Gravity scene, and I think my personal favorite one is from the girl group Flow.
Is ever gonna bring me
Kurt and Rachel are somewhere whimpering in the corner because their crown has officially been taken. Fast forward to 2025 is when the promo for the second movie starts. Reports come out that Ariana and Ethan officially broke up, and everyone was now looking at Ethan like the dummy he is. Because one thing about Ariana, she will move on to another man. So now there are rumors of her being with Aaron Taylor Johnson, and people actually like this pairing this time around because people really don't like Aaron with his current wife, since they have a 23-year age gap that a lot of people find very concerning and weird. So people are here for this. They are begging for Ariana to do her home wrecking ways here. When it comes to the promotion for the second movie, it wasn't nearly as intense as the first go around, but we still got some fun stuff here. Cynthia has now become the internet gift queen. She has given us so many memes over the last year, from everyone's favorite with the acrylic Spidey senses head touch, but now the one to take over is her reaction to someone finding a hat she had lost like a year prior.
Can I say something to you?
Yes, you just said it. I heard the perfect.
Last year at the London premiere, you forgot your hat, your scarf.
Yes.
I have it. For real.
Are you joking?
No, I'm not. I found it.
Oh my god.
Someone took this and turned it into a GIF, and now it's in the Stan Twitter Hall of Fame, and I love it. The big thing that recently happened was at the Wicked premiere in Singapore. Most of the main cast was there attending, and some man ran out and ambushed Ariana, not in a violent way, but in a way that definitely caused a big scare and a very big disturbance. I really don't understand people that do this for fun. Do you enjoy getting kicked out of venues? Cynthia acted with a quickness to save her sister and got in between them way before security was able to get there. So the security team was just standing there watching it happen. Oh, okay. Apparently this guy is like a serial celebrity ambusher. Like he has done this on multiple different occasions. How was he not on some no-fly list? He was sentenced to 9 days in prison for this, so I guess that's something. I saw a tweet saying let him do this to Cardi B and he will never do this again, and I have never seen truer words. The general public was obviously very concerned about Ariana, but they were even more concerned at the physical state of the female cast. There seems to be a very drastic change in weight of Ariana, Cynthia, and Michelle, to where everyone is just very concerned for them because they look really, really thin. There's a lot of discourse around this because the body trend now is to be super skinny, so people are concerned that they're being overworked on set, or maybe that they have a very specific diet that's being pushed onto them. And then there are the other side of people that argue that we shouldn't be talking about women's bodies at all. All I'm gonna say is that I genuinely hope they're all healthy and nothing weird is going on behind the scenes. This isn't super serious, but it's also kind of funny. Reports came out that Cynthia lost her voice and won't do interviews, so Ariana is gonna stand with her in solidarity. Ariana later tested positive for COVID, so people made jokes that Cynthia was gonna get COVID to stand in solidarity with her, which I love Twitter. I also have to include the video of Ariana twirling her wand on the Jimmy Fallon show. Reason 151 of why I will never leave Twitter is someone making a lightsaber version of this video. I look back at all of these events in both awe and concern, but I think the one thing we can all agree on is that entertainment is back. This should be the blueprint for future movies to do their press runs. I've had a great time witnessing all of this. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hype, whatever that means. And I will see you all next time. Bye.